Okay, so I'm randomly doing this. I thought I'd do a video about China, how I got to China 13 years ago, 14 years ago, how it was teaching there, how to go there and teach. So let me tell you. So I went from the age of 20 to 24. I was working for a very boring gas company in the UK. I started as data inputter. I got promoted to monitoring computers. Then I got promoted to assistant business analyst. And right before I quit, like literally 2 weeks before I quit, I got promoted to a business analyst. It was an okay salary. It was about 20 something grand at the time. Not much, about 40 something thousand US dollars. It was easy, but it was boring me out of my mind. And I'd always wanted to travel the world. And I've been put off. I had some money when I was younger through working at Tesco, but I've been put off from travelling. My family said it wasn't a good idea. Didn't do it, but it boiled inside me. I boiled. So I've been off around the world. The first country I ever went to was China. And it blew my mind. I did my first month ever of travelling outside Europe in China. Beijing for a week, Great Wall twice, slept on the Great Wall, stayed in a Ming Dynasty general's home, which had been converted into a hotel / dorm. And it was just mind-blowing. And I said to myself at the time, I remember my first day when I arrived, I was blown away by the level of development and the level of history. And I was in my hotel room and I remember looking out the window and saying to myself, I've landed on a different planet, like an extraterrestrial planet. That was back in 2002, that was. And I went and explored China. Week in Beijing, took the train to Xi'an, where the terracotta warriors were that I'd seen on a children's TV program. Great. Across to Langzhou, which was an industrial city, just basically got off the train and then headed straight for Zhakra or Zahe, and it was the biggest Buddhist complex in China, outside of Tibet. And then I travelled across to Langmusi, Songpan, and then Chengdu, and then I flew across to Hong Kong. It was like a month. It was crazy. Then I went into Thailand, and it was like full of Westerners, full of backpackers getting drunk on Khao San Road, and I was like, compared to China, nothing. I went down to the islands, went to Koh Samui. It was like, that was nothing. And then headed down Malaysia, Singapore, Australia. Saw Kylie Minogue randomly in Sydney. Headed up to the Great Barrier Reef, did a dive course, learnt how to dive. Brilliant, and I was done. I went back to England. I worked in a bar for a few months, went to India, did meditation for 4 weeks, then travelled for 2 weeks, then went back to England, did a charity job, and I was like, bang, I want to live in China. I want to see what China's like to live in, and wow. So how did I get to live in China? When I was in India during that summer, almost at the end of the trip, I went to see the Taj Mahal. And at the Taj Mahal, after the Taj Mahal, I was waiting for my train, had a couple of hours, I went to a 5-star hotel, I paid to use their swimming pool, and I met a Kiwi girl who'd just been teaching in South America for 2 years and told me I could get paid without a degree, which I didn't have at the time, teach English as a foreign language. So I went back to England. I'd already lined up a job as a charity fundraiser, working on the streets, soliciting donations for water aid, and that was a character building and very tough job that I did very well. And I lined up a course. The Kiwi girl had told me there's a 4-week course, TEFL or CELTA, teaching English as a foreign language, or the Cambridge English Language Teaching Association, I think CELTA is. You get a qualification, so you can go to an Asian country or a foreign country where English isn't the first language, and you can teach and get paid for it and live there. And that was it. I think, unfortunately, my mother had cancer and she died right before or right after I graduated that course. But I was like, screw it. I planned to do it, and I was going to do it. So I flew to Hong Kong in early, just after Christmas in 2004, and splashed down. I'd booked a hotel, the same one I'd stayed in as a backpacker. Very nice hotel actually in Electric Road, the Newton Hotel. 2 days, and I took the bus across the border, past Shenzhen and into Guangzhou. Stayed in Guangzhou on Simonam Dao, which is Sand Island, where the colonialists used to live, for a couple of days. I met this old American guy there who told me, don't get stuck teaching English in China. Never forget that. And then I flew to Chengdu and I started teaching at a kindergarten. I'd asked for kindergarten because I thought it would be easier than teaching like older students, and it was. Got a full-time salary. All my mates were teaching either high school or, mainly high school. And they sometimes had 200 students in a class, and I had like 15. And I had like 3 helpers or 4 helpers in each class. It was great. So yeah, briefly carrying on from that video I made a few weeks ago. I've just splashed down in China. I'm in Guangzhou. I've just taken a flight to Chengdu, where I'm going to teach and where I visited as a backpacker. And the adventure is about to begin as an English teacher in China. I'll talk in my next video about what it was like to arrive as a prospective English teacher in China, having never done a job like that before. And that's the next video. So until next time, this is Now.